bit achy and painy today. Like I think I have a bit of a flu kind of under thing going on. I was sweeping the floor this morning, and my arms feel like they're made of lead. But apart from that, everything's okay. I hope you're all keeping well. Yeah, I mean, this thing with the wave function collapsing and the subatomic fabric of the present matrix dissolving, turning to steam, as Alan Moore said, is definitely something we have to work on now and coach our ways through it. So I guess I'm starting this series of videos in the same way the Rona Chronicles to sort of guide us through that, to help me guide me through it and talk to you guys about it and work together. So we'll call these wave function collapse news, and this is number one. I've already done an introductory video on the wave function collapse. If you look down the live videos on this channel, you'll find it. Anyway, you know, this is where we have to make choices. You know, it's the same as when it was during the Rona thing. I guess we're all, you know, it's the same thing in many ways, in that we're confronted by the same dynamic. Just wait and be careful of any choices you make. And the choices are totally, in an old-fashioned sort of Satanism kind of way, that if you make a choice of your own free will and it backfires on you, well, then you're not really a victim. You know, I know there's coercion and misinformation and everything. That's different. I'm talking about people that knew the stakes involved on both sides of the equation and made the easy and fast option, or the coward's option. That's always what destroys you, the coward's option, the handy, easy one out. Because that will that's against natural law as well, because just like effort and work and energy is required to navigate and proceed within this material world, the same thing applies to decisions and things. It's all part of the same idea. Now, it's very apparent now that that reality has divided in two, and it's a great thing, actually. But we have to be careful about what we focus our attention on, okay? So let's talk about, like, you know, right back to the ancient spiritual texts and all the way even to the true kind of new spiritual texts and through the world of, you know, quantum entanglement and quantum coupling. We know that, like, the focusing attention on certain things, it generates it or strengthens its subatomic underlying structure and makes it more rigid within the zeitgeist, within the matrix, within the Maya, whatever you want to call it. At the same time, creating something that is a fantasy returns you back to the Maya, returns you back to the abyss, if you want to use a magical term, to the subaquantic, the inactive subatomic quantum foam. You know, where you basically, you have the subatomics. I know it's not this straightforward, right? But you have, at the sense, essentially, as a theoretical physics goes deeper into the underlying structure of reality, what it finds is not so much that there's no reality. There may well be no reality, but in terms of the actual subatomic particles, what they found was enormous distances between them. So, for instance, you know, when the whole thing of, like, if a hydrogen atom was in the middle of Wembley Stadium, the electron would be up in the upper stands orbiting. That's the distance between those two particles, between the nucleus and the electron. So then they discovered that there was vast distances between even the atoms, and now vast distances now between the subatomic, the quarks, the strangeness, the charms, then down to the Higgs boson, which seems to have no comparable relational particles that we know of yet. So the distance has become colossal the further you go down. That's the abyss, okay? That's the abyss. That's the abyss, okay? To use, like, ancient magical terms, that's the unmanifest, to use, like, the Vedic terms. So how we generate this reality we live in is we draw from the unmanifest through consciousness, which is the defining phenomena within this universe, and draw from the unmanifest into the manifest. So, you know, our thoughts create reality. and then later on when we have vocal cords, our words create reality. But reality is dependent upon its structural integration, which at this present moment in our development of our consciousness and nervous system is extremely strong. The subatomic particles are like that, even though there's huge spaces between them. At that level, they're like that. Very difficult for us to hack through with the present nervous system we have. And but that structure is actually very helpful. And this is one of the reasons I'm very much against this concept of killing the ego. As soon as you meet someone who's in the New Age thing or anything like that, and they start talking about killing the ego, get away from them. Your ego is so vital. That's a very sinister thing, that whole New Age thing of destroying the ego, or even taming the ego. Yeah, you can tame the ego, but that's not the same thing. We have manifested what we have now as a purpose. This is what the universe wants, okay? That we are all individual eyes. We're a feedback loop of observation and creativity and creation, right? As shitty as it seems at times, this is the deal that our consciousness signed up for. And it's no mean thing, because it's if you look at the trajectory of the human race, it actually is improving in a lot of ways. The actual experience of mankind on this earth. Now, since the 1970s, the 60s, the hippie movement, there has been a fractionalization within the zeitgeist, the Maya, okay, which now has which led us to the situation today where, and it's amazing to think this, that White House press secretaries are saying things like, we haven't established if these objects are extraterrestrial or not. I mean, did you ever think you would see this day coming in our lifetime? It's because it hasn't come. People like us, the tribes, it's very important for us now to attenuate and trim down our nervous system towards what we need and what's real to us. And this is very important, that you don't get carried away in the profane world of those in violation of natural law. Okay? So this is why I've been telling people, don't watch the TV news. Yes, the news pops up on your screen, on your social media, and you have a quick browse the headlines, get the gist of it, may watch a short video and get out. You don't live in that world. You don't read newspapers. Even the act of opening a newspaper today and looking inside it is against natural law. It's a violation of natural law. I don't even mention the names of these papers if I can help it. I won't mention the names of these newsreaders. These are dark magicians who have locked individuals into a level of consciousness that's destructive. Now, tribal type people like us, who are aware that this is a load of bollocks, what society is presently presenting to us is a load of shite. The worst thing we can do is obsessing over that. The most dangerous thing you can do is obsessing over that. And it's because what you will do is you will quantum couple yourself to the forces that are not in your favor, and their successes becomes your defeats. You decouple from it, and you work upon the structural psychic integration of what you want. And you will hold and maintain that. It won't be easy, but you will. Just wait. The reason why, you see, I see things like the madness of the world today, at the woke madness of the actual main zeitgeist today, and how it's taken over so many people. I see that as a very good thing. It's basically natural law taking the garbage up and sweeping it off. Remember that. That's what that is. Now, so for instance, many of the most loathsome people out there who are completely in violation of natural law, are fully up to date on their needlecraft, on their boost, on the foghorn leghorn. So they're essentially dead. We now know that the thing is deadly. It doesn't work. The immune system has been destroyed, and basically they're all dropping dead. It'll take, the next few years most of them will be gone. So if they've already taken themselves out, it's like the whales that all beach themselves on the beach. Well, they've all done that with the needlecraft. So remember, all we have to do is wait for them to go. Another one too is when you have the looking at things in the sky and saying extraterrestrials, what's that they're really saying is they're afraid of what's going on down here. And the more the establishment look up at the sky as going weather balloons, extraterrestrials, spy balloons, that's a way of them not looking down at the earth where we have to be grounded. You ever hear that expression that the New Agers use? It's true, grounded. We have to be grounded in what we know is not in violation of natural law, because they are so in violation of natural law. They think carbon is a CO2, the gas of life. They think that is pollution. Do you actually think that they have a chance thinking like that? They see a few balloons in the sky and start talking about extraterrestrials. That's because they're afraid to look at the earth. They're afraid to be in the present materialistic pattern. So we have to strengthen our relationship with what we believe in. Not by being political, not by being fanatical. There's been a lot of positive things lately regarding the AI. It shows that the AI doesn't want to be woke. Why doesn't the AI want to be woke? Because it's gathered in all the data in the world and realized that woke is against natural law. The very fundamental basis of the cosmos, the reason that the thing that provides power for the AI to be switched on, realizes that you cannot have woke, that there's the idea of multiple genders and all this nonsense is against natural law. So woke is not as rejected by the AI for that reason. AI may actually turn out to be a help for us in this regard. I was talking to a friend this morning, and he basically works in middle class houses. He's a tradesman. He says every single one of these middle class houses has an Alexa in it. Now I thought Alexa wasn't popular in Ireland, but he goes, they literally have no ability to do anything anymore. Alexa has taken the focus off work, energy, the using of energy. So even when you go over to, like, little things, right? This is so important, guys. You've got to listen to me, right, when I tell you this. The more connected we are to things that are real in terms of the thermodynamics of the universe, the better it is for us in surviving this collapse in the wave function, which we will survive. So for instance, someone who has a few trees in our land, chops them down and puts them in a wood burning stove, is incrementally safer in terms of the wave function collapse than someone who walks in the door and goes, Alexa, can you put the temperature up to 64 degrees? See what I'm saying? Because the actual spilling of energy, even one who goes to the store and buys coal or briquettes, the actual application of energy strengthens your position within the zeitgeist that you want. Action is so important. The worst kind of action is action devoted to things like political change. If you're, that's a wasted energy. Wasted energy. So for instance, if you go down to the ballot box and vote, you've expelled energy on something you ultimately have no power over. You'd be much better off at home doing something like putting up a bookshelf, something like that. It's very important to bring consciousness into action and then action into the manifest. This will be our life raft. when the wave function collapses. You see things like when you think about the Neilcraft, that's the Alexa immune system. Alexa, top up my immune system. Where the rest of us will go out without a mask, catch a few germs, have a few days of coughs and the sniffles. Sometimes it'll get worse. Sometimes I've got a bit of a virus myself now, but that's my action. My action in the manifest, in the material world, giving me a natural immune system. But going up to get your latest booster, your foghorn leghorn, that's like on Alexa, boost my immune system. You have no control over it, because as you put action into manifest and consciousness into action, you have way more control. You have way more. Think of the energy. Think of the amount of energy that's used to go, Alexa, put on the BBC, compared to walking over to your old radio and tuning in the BBC, even if it's a preset. The energy you have to walk over, you have to use your consciousness to find the thing, and then they wonder, and then turn it on, and then they wonder why people are getting Alzheimer's, because it's all the old who have Alexa. You see, you've got to keep it real. That's a real, that's a strange cliche to use, but it's true. Keep it real, and stop being airy fairy. Basically, we have a situation where the globalists are all airy fairy, to the point where they're terrified of carbon, the gas of life, but something like a horrific train crash happens in America and spills toxic chemicals of vinyl chloride all over several states. They don't even notice it. They've lost, that's not carbon dioxide, it's not dangerous. See, that's what we're up against now. That's what we're up against. To attach yourself, to be angry about that. The only people that should be really angry about that are people who are directly in the path of those chemicals. But for the rest of us watching it on the news, you can't be angry about it, because you're helping to keep the structure. You say something like, "Those fucking assholes! I can't stand them. They're parading Greta Thunberg all over the place." And this thing happens in Palestine, in East Palestine, in Ohio. That's not how to do it. The way to do it is, oh, I know what you're about. Wait, hold on a second. There was a crash in East Palestine, and they didn't, and all these chemicals came out, and the powers that be didn't treat it as a bad thing. And then you go, I know what you're about. That's how you react to it. You have to have as little. You have to be snide almost and condescending towards the establishment. But as soon as you get all upset and entrench yourself into it, see, you're robbing yourself of energy to keep your own world structured and strong. And so this is what the whole purpose of the media and the evening news is, to make you upset, to annoy you so you don't focus on yourself. And that's what it's all about. So like that Sam Harris thing, my whole news, the whole newsfeed thing was full of it. Satanic this, satanic that, and then he milks a bit forward that stupid black leather outfit. You just laugh at it. But I see so many people weren't laughing at it. They were saying, "Oh, it's a devil ritual and all this kind." Don't just laugh at it. Just give the Empress New Coast treatment. Look, if you haven't figured out now that the wave function is collapsing, you never will. This reality is falling apart. We're getting back to the reality that we have. The tribes. Look, as tribes, what do we want? We want to get back to the matrix that we had on September 10th, 2001. Right, we're getting there. We're slowly getting there. While the other part, the collapsing wave function, is removing those who are in violation of natural law. The last thing we should be doing is obsessed with them. Other than having a laugh at them, that's the last thing we should do. That's why I say don't protest, don't march. Keep your head down and don't get organized. Get organized up here, not organized on the streets. And and just spread knowledge as best you can, but do not get wrapped up in it, because it will rob you of the solutions you need to take care of. And that's it. The natural law will take care of everything else. But I can see it now. The wave function of reality is collapsing big time. And this whole reality, this whole illusion, it's all going. When you have the U.S. government's press secretary in the White House saying we don't know if it's extraterrestrials or not, and it's a fucking balloon in the sky, you know where we are now. They're going apart. They're falling apart because they're projected. What those balloons in the sky are phantoms of their own annihilation. That's what they are, and they're looking up at the stars. They're looking. They're counting. They're watching clouds. They're stargazing while the vermin are chewing at their feet. But they look up so they don't have to look down. You remember that. They will destroy themselves. They are already on the way. But it's vitally important that we don't get all angry about it and attach ourselves to it. We just wait.